Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to another video with your financial independence. So, full disclaimer here, as you see from the thumbnail, I know the last time that I kind of picked at other trucking companies, I do still love Hyliion. I'm kind of picking at all these articles. A lot of their stuff they're leaving out, and I like full details with everything. So we're going to be basically going over, somebody that's basically trying to they wrote a short article about Hyliion. And Hyliion is my company. Like, I was one of the first ones on YouTube starting to talk about it. And even now, there's not that many people talking about Hyliion on YouTube. So, this is like my company, I feel like. This is one of the first companies I started investing in that was, a spec and kind of speculative. So, I don't take well to these short articles. And then we're going to be basically, in my opinion, one of Hyliion's biggest competitors right now. We're going to be looking at some of their trucks and what they're actually doing with their trucks. And kind of throw a little hint out there. This is a huge trucking company. It's they sell the most trucks here in the United States. But before we get into that information, it's much appreciated if you hit that little like button and then subscribe if you do like the content. And now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into some of this article. So it reads off, Hyliion Holdings is a risky long-term bet. Just to give you a little bit of a background that they listed here, Hyliion Holdings is an electric vehicle stock that's different. Instead of cars, Hyliion basically does the whole Class 8 vehicle. There's a huge potential market. As a result, Hyliion stock surged last fall with the prospects that the government pushed for electrification of commercial transportation fleets. Now, on the plus side, the EV commercial truck market is huge. President Joe Biden planned to achieve zero-emission economy, including electrifying transportation, with a huge boost to EV stocks last year, and that's when Hyliion, went on a massive run. And they say 50.35 where it closed at one time, but I'm pretty sure it reached close to $60. I want to say it was like $58 and some change. That was when the whole EV craze was going on. And then now they're starting to talk about Class 8 vehicles basically being big rigs and talking about some of the heavy pollutions that they do. Global transportation industry CO2 emissions for the year at 8.26 gigatons, basically of emissions that basically went out into the atmosphere. So electrifying big trucks is a big win for the environment. It's also a win for the companies that operate these commercial trucking fleets. EVs cut fuel costs and are less expensive to maintain. That is true, I'll give them that. This makes for a considerable growth opportunity in the electric truck market. And some of the reports I haven't read through or haven't researched this, but some of the reports that they're showing in this article is that the global market for electric trucks is supposed to be almost 70,000 units in 2021. I feel like that's a little bit high. And then the number of projected growth is 1.4 million by year 2030, which is a CAGR percent of almost 40%. So on the top of this right here, they're basically talking about the ERX and how it burns renewable natural gas, all that good stuff. We're going to skip down to the middle portion on here. Hyliion is pushing the fact that Hypertruck ERX gets transportation companies to zero emissions faster and cheaper without having to rely on these charging stations. And fuel costs are said to be 35% lower than diesel. They actually, kind of killed themselves on that a little bit because it's actually about 50%, so about half as expensive as diesel fuel right now. The company also promises higher payload capacity, and we've seen that from videos. And, the CEO talking about these trucks, and they're doing rigorous tests, which we're going to talk about in a little bit towards the end of this video. The company also promises a higher payload capacity and a pure or more than a pure plug-in EV Class 8 truck. The company also unveiled its EX bolt-on solution due to ship later this year, which is an updated version of the hybrid powertrain, as much of us already know if we keep up with the stock, which provides basically easier installation, servicing, operations, leading to greater payloads and a better driving experience for the truck. So now they're going to kind of get on to OEMs, which is original equipment manufacturers, are rapidly developing their own Class 8 EV trucks right now, which they are, that's true. They're establishing truck manufacturers that have dominated the industry for decades. Yeah, look back at what Apple done with flip phones. Look what they done with that. Look at, around 2017, what Tesla done to the car manufacturing market. All the Ford and GM. And then all of a sudden in 2020, Ford and GM and, all the other companies, they finally figured out, like, man, we got some catching up to do if we're still trying to be in business in the next decade. So I feel like Hyliion's doing that now. I know Tesla does have a semi-truck, a Class 8 vehicle. But right now, with the cards that were dealt, Hyliion is that ultimate middle ground until we go into hydrogen fuel cells. So at this point, Hyliion has orders on the Hypertruck ERX, which we all know this, but the platform still needs to be tested. There are no Hypertruck ERX direct sales. Instead, Hyliion needs to partner with Class 8 truck manufacturers to offer the Hypertruck ERX platform as an option, which all of us know, Peterbilt is who they chose for that, which is a great company. They're known for quality. Peterbilt and Kenworth, PACCAR, that's the actual company's name. And so basically what I'm getting from that is no powertrain solution can be successful. Well, dang, that's crazy because I'm pretty sure like Cummins stock, all these powertrain giants have succeeded pretty well in that. Because these trucking manufacturers, they tend to focus on the trucks themselves that they make and rely on other great companies to make the powertrain solutions, which they're saying in this carries significant risk, and this is basically why they're saying this is a super risky play if you're a long-term investor, which at these rates right now, say Hyliion doesn't succeed all the way, they do half as much as what all of us kind of investors, the small group of us, are expecting. Even if they only do half of what we expect, that's still, they're going to be bringing in billions of dollars of revenue. So they're saying that this carries significant risk, especially with the companies that are working towards their own EV plays, which we're about to get into right now. Sorry about that, I'm burping a little bit. So meet the new fleet of Freightliner electric trucks. And, just so y'all do know, I'm a little bit sarcastic on this. I got a little bit of hate on it was almost a year ago when I made the Hyliion is Failing video. So meet the new electric Freightliner trucks, or Freightliner electric trucks like the e-Cascadia and the EM2 on North America roads today, driven by dozens of customers, enduring the rigorous real-world operations day in and day out, which is what Hyliion and, a lot of people, every truck out there is doing. So these drivers and fleets rely on their product every day, like how they're trying to sell this. Like that's what every single trucking company does. They all rely on their trucks. If not, they couldn't move any kind of trailers around or make any kind of revenue. And we consider their inputs essential. Yeah, every trucking company does if they want to sell trucks. So the next little bit we're going to go over here, real truck, real customer, and real miles. And to sum it all up, they're basically saying we're closing in on 1 million real world miles. And they haven't even updated this because about a year ago, that's the same amount, I'm pretty sure, that I said in that video. So they're closing in on 1 million miles now. Hyliion's probably, 3 times that much by now, because back when I made that video, Hyliion was at 2 million miles already. And the e-Cascadia and the EM2 models, which enter production in 2022. So now, obviously, we're talking about Freightliner, being that we're talking about the e-Cascadias, which is the most popular truck out here in North America. That's just about 80% of the trucks I see on the interstates are all e-Cascadias, which they do a good job with getting a lot of MPGs and stuff like that. They're more so known as like a value truck, definitely not the same quality as PACCAR, which is, Kenworth or Peterbilt. And then you got Volvo somewhere in the middle ground in there. So this is a Class 8 truck with horsepower ranges depending on what kind of options you want, with 360 to 500 horsepower. So this also comes with an 82,000 pound max weight with a mile range of 250 whole miles. When Hyliion's, now with their battery only 75 miles, and then 1,300 miles, I do believe, when, you know, using all the natural gas and stuff. So a mile range of 250, that's kind of short. That's definitely local delivery. And this is the main competitor to Hyliion right now. And you have this short article that's basically saying that these trucking manufacturers, they're super dominant right now. They're about to start taking, you know, market share from Hyliion. It's like, dude, this is still an undeveloped market right now. And it's basically whoever has the better product at the end of the day usually wins. So usable capacity, which is up to 475 kilowatt hours with a recharge rate. Any of y'all truck drivers, please comment down below and what y'all think about this, or even if you work at a Flying J or something like that. Recharge rate 80% in 90 minutes, so an hour and a half. Imagine every single truck stop. I would imagine it probably, because, you know, most trucks these days, they have, you know, either two 100-gallon tanks or two 150-gallon tanks. I'm pretty sure that takes, you know, roughly 30 minutes to be fully fueled. And usually the guy will walk in, or, you know, the person driving the truck will walk in and get their snacks or drink or whatever while it's filling up. And so whenever they get back in the truck, they're ready to take off and go for another, you know, 8 hours if they just started their shift or something like that. Imagine every single truck taking an hour and a half just to get to 80%. So that would cut the mileage down to what, like, I ain't that good at math, but say 220 miles. So you're even talking about less of a mile range than 250. Hour and a half for doing that, that's not feasible. Even if the infrastructure was there right now, that's not feasible at all. So if you made it this far in the video, I really do appreciate it. One more time, if you do like the content, make sure you like and subscribe. It helps this small channel out a lot. And I hope y'all enjoyed kind of some of the short article. I just don't like, I feel like Hyliion's like almost my little kid, you know, when it comes to stocks. And I don't like people writing short articles about that. You know, I'm the type of guy, if I see somebody getting bullied, I'm not just going to stand to the side and like turn my head the other way and act like I don't see it. Like if somebody writes a short article about this and they're not including all the details, and they're just basically talking about these truck manufacturers, how they're so dominant, and how Hyliion's, you know, a long-term, super risky stock, I don't let that fly. I hope y'all enjoyed the content, and catch me back on the next video.